Hello and welcome to Newsbeat's gaming show. If you saw our first episode, then thanks for coming back. If you didn't, then don't worry too much, you'll get the gist pretty quick. Here's what's coming up.
We get hands-on with the newest version of a fighting classic. We'll update you on all this month's news and take a look at February's big releases and what does it take to be a shoutcaster. We'll meet the guys calling the shots in gaming's biggest contests.
First up then, if you think of fighting games, you probably think of Street Fighter, right? Characters like Ryu, Chun-Li and that evil dictator M. Bison are now some of the most famous faces of the whole genre. And if you like button bashing and perfecting those combos, then I've got some good news for you. February is going to be lots of fun.
Street Fighter V is the latest in a franchise that dates all the way back to 1987. Since then, the graphics might have got a bit fancier and Ken might now be sporting a black t-shirt, but the concept is pretty much the same. We were lucky enough to go to the launch event for the game and saw just how excited people are for this new version. But why is it that given all the changes in gaming over the last 30 years, that there's still such a buzz for this sort of action? Well, who better to tell us than the man who brought the series back in 2008 after a 10-year break?
It really was a big question. Is there a place or a need for 2D fighting games in the industry anymore? Internally at Capcom, a lot of people thought we'd really done all we could with the genre when Street Fighter 3 came out and there was nowhere else to go. At that time, it was the voices of the community and the fans that told us there still was a place for this kind of game. They wanted to see the legacy they loved represented in the latest technology. I'm thankful to them for giving us the inspiration to keep going with the game.
The title will be released on PlayStation and PC. The fancy joystick pads are optional. There are 16 playable characters this time around, with 4 new faces, like Rashid, who's busy kicking Ryu in the face here, thrown into the mix. More will become available as DLC in the future, and developers say they won't cost you a penny to get hold of.
We have a hope for the future to keep going for many more years, if anything, simply because there's so much support from the fans, and that's proof enough to us that we still have a place in the world. In recent years, we've established the Capcom Pro Tour and the Capcom Cup. There's now huge amounts of prize money riding on the game, and people play to such a professional level that I'm confident that even with all the variety of offerings available to gamers today, they've said to us, we still want you.
And you'll be able to get your hands on Street Fighter 5 on February the 16th. Now, speaking of release dates, it's a pretty solid month for games in February, and here's a list of some of the other big titles coming out soon.
XCOM 2, the sequel to cult tactical turn-based strategy game XCOM, is already out. Set 20 years after the events of the original, you try and fight back after the human race has been overrun by aliens. A platform game that could be a serious tearjerker. The beautiful Unravel sees you take control of Yanni as he solves puzzles and reconnects the memories of a long-lost family. And the award-winning Far Cry franchise is back. Not in the Himalayas or the tropics this time, you'd be going back in time. Expect woolly mammoths galore in this prehistoric sandbox game.
Time to save those pennies then. Now, we all know that esports are becoming more popular, more competitive, and getting a lot more attention. But we think that there's one group of people that deserve a lot more love for all their hard work. And I know what you're thinking. The Shoutcasters.
That's massive from Septic coming in with the SMG. Ness turns around, gets a grenade kill as well. Septic does answer back with the kill on the Snake, and lots of kills going off here.
I'm a Shoutcaster, and a Shoutcaster is somebody who, typically you look at football, they have their commentators. We do the same sort of thing, but for video games.
Playing very, very well this weekend. We'll go on to the final against Epsilon. Let's see how they can do there.
I think you need to be able to speak well on camera for one. You need to have knowledge of the games.
I'm with Snakey now, and he's been the standout player for me for XL this weekend. He had a couple of shaky moments. Shaky Snakey, as people have been calling him.
So as you're shoutcasting, you primarily trying to focus on the screen that is being put out to the audience.
We said that big and fast need to come in this game, and they need to make it look strong.
It's not necessarily about just always commentating on what's in front of you. You have to sort of suspect things are going to happen, or suspect players are going to move in this direction and maybe going to meet up and there'll be a big fight or something, or an important fight at a certain point in the map or a certain time in the game.
Havoc and Snakey coming in there with 2 kills apiece.
I was in Paris and I was commentating over Call of Duty, and I got food poisoning. And I had to literally, we were commentating, they were doing a pan shot of the of the crowd, and I was trying to signal the guys. And I was like, "You're gonna need to go to a break. You're gonna need to go to a break," because I had food poisoning. I literally had to run to the bathroom, and I was not well at all. It wasn't good.
Next up, the news.
Call of Duty publishers Activision are being sued over one of the characters in Black Ops 2. The children of Jonas Savimbi, who fought in the Angolan Civil War, say their dad is portrayed as a barbarian in the game. Activision say the depiction was favourable. Playing FIFA for a living has got to be up there with one of the best jobs in the world. David Bythway's taken it a step further, bashing the buttons for an actual football club. The 22-year-old pro from Wolverhampton's been signed by Bundesliga side Wolfsburg. Nintendo's finally convinced the whole mobile gaming thing might be worth a shot. It's updated us on its first smartphone app, due out in Japan in March and then worldwide later. Nintendo says Miitomo will be a social experience. And Taylor Swift's getting in on the mobile gaming action too. She's developed a game with Glue, the company behind Kim K's smartphone-based adventure.
Hey, bestie.
The firm says we should expect never-before-seen gameplay utilising Taylor's unique creativity. For more on all these stories and to keep up to date with the big gaming news, then download the Newsbeat app.
Before we go, there's just time to add another title to the Newsbeat Hall of Game fame. It's basically a collection of legendary titles that we think you should probably play at some point. Now, last month we picked Zelda Ocarina of Time, and this month we're keeping it topical.
We've picked Super Street Fighter 2. In our opinion, the best version of the most iconic game in the series. So why was it so good? Well, it sold loads to start with and was the game that really kick-started the success of the franchise and, you can argue, the genre as a whole in the early 90s. It's the game that made fighters like Blanka, E. Honda and Guile household names. It was fast and fun to play and looked really colourful too. The game also introduced new characters like DJ and Cammy, who, as we saw earlier, has gone on to become a cult favourite with fans. So Super Street Fighter 2, we salute you.
So that's it from us this month, and we would love to hear from you. So please leave a comment below. You can get us on Twitter at BBC Newsbeat or find us on Facebook as well. But if you excuse me, I've got some evil dictators to go and beat up. What do you mean I've got a chance?